us.
Drunk at lunch here.
Or something. So that was within, I had realistic expectations.
I pulled it up and I asked the deputy.
All of
"Is it okay if
I
I do
read
this?"
too, they're
I
like,
don't
when they
wanna-
get.
today's agenda rather than waiting for it.
Look at you.
I don't know how often you guys have these.
I was like, "I'm cool with it.
iPads. Mine takes forever to update.
Sounds like a user.
I'd highly recommend. Yeah. It's fun to travel and talk to other people.
Everybody got it. Yeah, I didn't know. Everybody got it.
Look at there, it's 5 o'clock. Okay, it's 5 o'clock. Let's bring the March 25th meeting to order. And I think what we need to do is have a roll call first off.
Sarchet?
Here.
Savage?
Here.
Walters? Vogel? Here. Otis?
Here.
Okay, item number 3, public hearing. It is time to open the public meeting on the proposed property tax levy rate for FY 24-25. When was the notice published?
March 15th.
Have we had any written comments for or against the property tax levy rate?
No, sir.
This time then I'd like to ask Chelsea to give a report.
So the proposed aggregate city levy for fiscal year 25 is $11 per 1,000 assessed. That tax levy rate would be effective July 1st, 2024. And a breakdown of that $11 is the city general fund levy is proposed at 8.12622. Other employee benefits levy is proposed at 0.95722, and the proposed debt service levy is $1.91656, and that is how you get to your aggregate $11 per 1,000.
Okay, thank you. Is there anyone present who wishes to be heard for or against the property tax levy rate? Sure, come forward and tell us who you are and your address and make your comments.
Thank you, Mayor and Council members.
Sure.
Audrey Hyatt, co-trustee of 1102 Oakwood Drive. I guess, thank you for your work, because I know shuffling a lot of numbers is a difficult process, whether it's the big budget like you have here or personal budget. I guess it remains a little disappointing to me that knowing what my assessed values increased to 22, almost 23%, that increased property revenue didn't result in a lower levy rate. Jenny kind of said that this really wasn't other than a levy, it's not about the budget, although I'm not quite sure how you separate those two features out. I guess one of the things that I wondered about was an expenditure in the past where, let me see, I think I'm still at my time frame to find this. Where an expenditure on page 2 said the actual in 23 was $160,111. This is as it relates to other general expenditures, and then re-estimated in 24 was, $986,000, and then went down to $25,500. So when we talk about other, it's kind of like $10 in your pocket. You don't start deciding where it's going to go. It's going to be gone. So with that amount of money, I'm not quite sure, even if it's almost $1 million or if it's $25,000, I'm not quite sure why it isn't itemized and broken out so you can actually see where that money is going to. And then I guess I can wait, although it doesn't seem to be a two-way process. If I looked at the stormwater utility, it was $11,278 in 23, and it was estimated at $230,000 in 24, and then went down to $30,000 in 25. So, I guess I'll have to talk maybe with Chelsea to see kind of how that breaks out. But I guess the one particular on other general government, it's nice to see that, you know, that actually gets an assignment in terms of where that money goes, because it will just go away. But anyway, my opening comment, it would have been happily received to have seen the levy go down even a little bit in view of all of our assessed property increases. Thank you. Any questions?
No, thank you. Was there anyone else? Yeah.
My name is Dean Dreplow, 304 Juliana Court. I'm not speaking for or against, but I have a couple technical questions for clarification, if I may.
Okay.
Page 8.
On what?
On the capital projects, page 8 of your document that you sent out,
Is
capital
that
projects
levy?
and capital equipment highlights.
Is that levy or is that budget?
Yeah, are you wanting to ask budget questions, or are you wanting to ask questions or statements regarding the tax levy? I am happy to follow up with you anytime after the meeting. This public hearing is specific to the tax levy.
Okay, so
So if you want to go on record for the budget, you may want to come to the public hearing for the actual city budget, which is April 22nd.
okay, so this document does not cover tonight's meeting, even though it says.
Tonight is specific to the property tax levy, but
Okay.
I am happy to,
Okay.
I can hang around for a couple of minutes and answer any questions you have about the proposed budget, but you can also ask your questions April
Okay,
22nd.
that's fine
too.
then. Thank you.
Yeah.
Anyone else? Again, this is for the property tax levy rate, not the budget.
I'm Gerald Zollman. I'm on 1116 North Fifth. I look at this thing and I'm totally confused, so I don't have any smart questions, other than the fact that if we look at a 5-year budget, I mean, do we continue raising the rates like we have? And I understand the city's only a part of it, but it seems to me that our rates have been awfully strong. My property taxes since I come to town in 2009, and I'm sure that I'm on a rate of about 15% a year increase. And I know that I need to protest the valuation on my home, which I haven't done. But when we look at the next 5 years, you know, what's it going to look like? Do we need to continue? You guys got a lot of room here that you could continue to go up. And I'm wondering, okay, what's our plan? Okay, Steve, help me out.
Sure, Carol. So the plan for the property tax levy rate, correct?
Yes.
So what I can tell you about the property tax levy rate is that the council held this year's rate for 2024 at the 2023 rate. So the council has been working hard, and Chelsea has been working hard to provide council with the information to make a valuable decision about that. Now, that's about as deep into the woods as I think we have time to
Okay.
go with you.
And that's exactly my point, the increased valuation. So we've lowered the rate. It's not going to take very long to get back where we're at. You know, when continued increases on the valuation side.
Yeah.
And I have no clue how this compares to any other towns at all. What I'm saying.
So I think we can tell you, because we do a list of that, so we demonstrate where Polk City lands in the cities around the metro, and we are very much in the bottom half of the middle. And there are lots of cities that are close to us whose levy rates are higher than ours. So that's where we are.
But if I get out of bed every morning, want to be on the lower average of of others, that's not a very good way to get out of bed. I keep saying, what's our purpose? What's our plan? What do we really anticipate? Because it seems, I think we're driven by housing, and it seems to me anything that will build a house gets approved, and I just see it continue to go. I'm an old guy, pretty soon I won't be able to afford my taxes, I'll lose my home for the taxes if we continue at these rates. And depends how long I live.
Okay, well, we appreciate your comments.
Okay.
Council appreciates your
Good, I'm
comments.
done. Thank you.
Thank you, Daryl.
Thank you very much.
Is there anyone else?
If there's no other questions, I'd like to say a few things.
Go ahead.
So, for the record, because there are new people here, I do not agree with how we structure our meetings, making I'm guessing you're all here because of a new statement that came out, and to drive a narrow discussion because we only have the levy rate and not the budget on the agenda, is not what a small town council should conduct themselves. I've made that known, and I don't have the power to change it, so I'm going to continue to make it known to those people when they show. I would prefer to have a much more back and forth, open dialogue on a few different things, because there's a lot of different components to some of the concerns that you're addressing. Chronologically, I'd like to start with yours, Ms. Hyatt. So we kept the rate the same, but you inferred based on the increased assessed value that the cost went up, when in fact it probably did not, due to, there's three factors in the calculation of how your property taxes are assessed and when they're paid. So the assessed value has not taken hold, and will this budget align with the new assessed value? It will not.
Yes,
It will.
yes, September payments
Okay,
will align
So,
with the
so your
assessment.
your next payment, in September on the new assessed rate will align to this new rate. So if everything else was right, then your inference would be correct, but there's a rollback percentage which has gone down. So when your payment bill, not what this is, and I just got this 3 or 4 days ago too, and was trying to make heads or tails of it, and it's hard to. It's a new notice that came out. I don't think you'll see the increase that you're thinking based on the assessment. And I was concerned too. My property went up, I think 25% as well. But the payment is again for each taxing entity. So one, we're the second, we're like a quarter of your property taxes. School's roughly half, we get a quarter. Another, there's a whole bunch of groups, Broadlaw in the county, that get the remaining quarter. For that statement this year, how it's calculated again is the assessed valuation times the levy rate, which we're establishing here, times the rollback percentage. The state has calculation over, or determination over how that is figured, and I don't know how, but it decreased this year while your assessed value went up. So all that's to say in a wordy circular loop probably is that it shouldn't have, your taxes paid aren't going to go up 23%. I'm saying that. So I just want to make that clarification. So Gerald, to your question about a 5-year plan, because of that convolution, it's impossible for me or anyone else up here to say what it's going to be in 5 years, because we don't know. But inside of the budget discussion, which everybody that's welcome to come back to that one and provide more details, because the budget leads to a rate and the rate leads to what you pay, and I want to be transparent with that. If there are things in the budget that you have concerns with, let's talk about them at that point, because we can't do that here apparently. But and I also disagree with the notion that we're approving everything. Something you said that if we build it, we'll approve it, and that's not true. At least from my perspective, I think we have grown, but we've not grown in a way, quite honestly, similar to most towns, which is, apartments and a lot of pushing a lot of people in a small amount of area. I value, my bones are in a small town, and if people want to move here, I'm not going to push them away, but I also want to grow in a responsible manner. So it is change. The only thing I could say is to whoever said 2009 or whatever years you moved here, looking at the again, 1/4 roughly of the amount of money that goes from what you pay to the city coffers, look at that don't look at the assessed value, and I guess I shouldn't say not to look at anything, but it's misleading to say my home has gone up this percentage when your taxes are a separate calculation, and can lament all I want about how convoluted and messy and untransparent it is, because all those things are true. Unfortunately, that's the cards that we're dealt in order to provide a budget, provide the services, keep the roads up, all those things that are priorities. So I don't know how many of those things answered any of your questions.
I just wanted to,
So you'll have to come, we'll let you come forward.
I don't have a comment about this, I have a question. Can you just explain one of these sections? It's new to everyone.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm happy to explain it. So if you have your sheet in front of you, if you go down to the city line, it says general non-ag, and you see $3.6 million in there. That is the amount of property tax revenue the city collected in fiscal year 24 in property taxes. Okay? So if you look at the current rate, which is $11, is the next line, and then the following rate is what is called the effective tax rate. If the city were to collect in fiscal year 25 the same amount they collected in fiscal year 24, which is the 3.6 million, that would be our tax levy rate, as if we were collecting the same amount of revenue from the previous year, dollar for dollar. So the next line takes our proposed tax rate of $11 with the new assessed value that we have to work with for fiscal year 25, and you see that our proposed property tax revenue is estimated at $3.9 million.
Okay.
Now you can kind of look and see that the school is broke out, the county is broke out on your sheet, and then the city, and then on the back it gives you more information, but that is the gist of the notice you were given.
So just to Rob's point, we're required to do this 2 different occasions. We're required to do the property tax levy at this meeting, and then we're required to do the budget meeting on April 22nd. It's not, I mean, that's just what we're required to do. So if you have budget comments, you're welcome to come back and deliver them at the budget meeting on April 22nd. Okay? All right, so are there any other people wishing to comment? Okay then. So then I need a motion to close the public hearing and adjourn the regular meeting. In a second?
Second.
And roll call.
Vogel?
Yes.
Otis?
Yes.
Sarchet?
Yes.
Savage? Walters?
Yes.
Approved. So we are adjourned until 6 o'clock.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
Thank you guys for coming. We really appreciate you coming.